Right. Can you explain a little bit of what auditory processing is? Because I don't think I think when parents hear that, it kind of shoots over their head because they're used to the typical school diagnoses, but schools don't diagnose an auditory processing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's really where a lot of the labels are coming from, is the processing is low. And what I believe is our society is really causing a lot of these, as our cultural practices change, it's robbing our children of the full academic potential that they have. One thing I think everybody's kind of keenly aware of is the screen time.
Yeah.
You just know in your gut that that's really not good for them to be doing that long. Mm-hmm. And then we've got all these gadgets that we put our infants in. And when we wrap them around us and hold them all the time, it's great for bonding, but it's not great for development. Mm-hmm. So, and we've got those little walker things that we put them in when they're 4 or 5 months old. They just seem more, I don't know, they seem more human, I guess, when they're sitting up instead of laying down. But they need to be on the floor going through those kinds of things. And then we used to talk a lot. People now you go to those anywhere and they've got their face down and texting and things like that, or looking at Facebook.
Right. At least we're talking to each other.
Yes, that's what we're talking to each other on. But, a lot of times we're not talking to our children as much, mm-hmm. and they're not developing that auditory processing. So there's some specific activities that you can do to really help with that. And we actually have a free test kit on our website, everydayatsteps.com, that people can get. And you can test your child, find out where they are, and then actually have some activities that have that principle of frequency, intensity, and duration, mm-hmm. that will help the processing come up. Now, processing auditorily is holding pieces of information together in your short-term memory, mm-hmm. and then bringing it right back out.
Okay.
So, that's going to affect a ton of different things. I've got some examples of that. When you're processing information, it just globally affects the child. I just wanted to, it affects their ability to stay on task and follow directions. Sometimes people think it's a behavioral thing, but
right.
I had one friend that had a 9-year-old that had Down syndrome, and he would do sit-down strikes, on the steps of the church. Just couldn't get him to move. And he had more like a 2-digit span, and he had behavior more like a 2-year-old. So it really affects their behavior. So if we can get their processing up, then it makes all the difference in their ability to function in life. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's really so important about processing is most homeschoolers want to do phonics as far as a ability to read, and they think they're not reading. They're cheating or something if they're reading any other way besides sounding out that word. And so that's kind of ingrained in us, and so that's the direction we go. And then when our children have low processing, like my daughter, she had a 3-digit span. She could hold 3 pieces of information together. Mm-hmm. Now that child could do every sound of OUGH. She had all 70 phonograms. She knew all of that, but she could not hold those pieces together to get the word out. Mm-hmm. It was the most frustrating thing you can imagine. I don't know, maybe you've already experienced that.
Yeah, well, that's how I was when I was younger too. So I speed read, but yeah, I know the struggle.
Yes, and when you're trying to do that and you keep doing that over and over again, everybody just gets frustrated. And I don't know if you saw this, Peggy, but a lot of people have seen this thing that's gone around in the email where all the words, they did a study and all the words were spelled wrong.
Mixed up, yeah.
Yes, all the letters were mixed up except the first and last were in the right place, and you could still read it.
Yeah.
So that tells you right there that you are really a sight reader.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really okay to do a sight word vocabulary, work on that processing, then add the phonics back in, and it makes all the difference. It just is so huge.
Because really, as you learn words, you don't sight read unless you're sounding something new out. And
exactly. And people don't really realize that when they're thinking about reading. You really, as soon as you learn the word, you never sound it out again. You
right.
just know the word.